Okay, absolutely fantastic. We're really moving along nicely now. Now, as I just said in the last lecture, I hope you bookmark this page because we're now going to log in to our WordPress backend. So I'm just going to click on login here. And now what I'm looking at is what they call the dashboard, okay? Or I often refer to it, you'll hear me referring to it a lot, as the back end. Now, my analogy here is that the back end is where you do all your site creation, okay? So let's just imagine a store. Let me use the concept of a store, a real store, in your town or whatever. You will have the front end of the store where all the products are presented, and that's kind of the website, if you like, where you make everything look really beautiful and easy to buy. And then you have the back end. Let's imagine there's a guy or a girl in the back office of that particular store doing all of the accounting, doing all of the great stuff that's actually keeping the thing going. So this dashboard is effectively the back end. So I really hope that analogy helps you picture how this is going to work. Now, the purpose of this lecture is to give you a brief tour of WordPress, all right? Because I want you to feel familiar with it. You definitely don't need to know loads and loads of details, all right? It's just the high-level stuff that you need to understand. My job, if you like, in this lecture is to make you feel comfortable with this, particularly if you're non-technical. And you're going to see that most of this is, in fact, point and click and very, very simple to use. So the first thing I want to do is just enlarge this so you can see it a little bit better. So what we have over on the left hand side is a menu, which I'm circling here, and over on the right hand side we have the details of whatever menu item you've clicked on. Okay, so a very, very familiar concept. Now, by default you are on the dashboard. Now, I don't want you to worry too much about the dashboard. It's simply a summary of basically how your store is set up. Now, if we move to posts, what we're talking about here primarily are blog posts, and we're going to talk about blogging a bit later on, but WordPress was initially born as a blogging platform, so being able to make blog posts is super, super easy on this system. Then we have media. This is where we're going to store our various images, and we'll be delving into this a little bit later on, but you'll be able to basically upload images to your store so you can display them wherever you may choose. Pages. Now, I hope this is reasonably straightforward, right? This is where we create pages for our websites. Of course, we can add new ones, we can modify existing ones, all those kinds of concepts. That's where we would do it here on the Pages tab. Comments, again, that's related mostly to blogging. If you've ever seen a blog, you will have perhaps seen comments underneath the blog. That's where we can manage those comments. We might want to delete them, we might want to approve them, whatever it might be. That's where we will manage comments. And it's a part of blogging that we won't be making really any use of during this course. You don't really need to know about it. Now, appearance. This is an interesting one. In fact, I'm going to click on this one, because this is all about changing the appearance of your store, okay? And WordPress uses the concept of what they call a theme. You can see themes up here, if I highlight it there, and also in the menu. And you can change the theme of your store. So if I go back to that analogy that I was talking about before, where we had the front end of the store, right? The bit that's all nice and pretty and you walk in and it makes you want to buy stuff. That is effectively the theme. And we can swap out different themes very, very easily depending on the type of store we have. This is kind of the fun part, if you like. This is the bit that makes it look really, really cool. Now, I'm going to come back to this very, very soon because we're going to choose a particular theme for my store just for demonstration purposes, and I will delve into the detail of themes in a little while. Now, just underneath appearances, the main thing that we're going to be looking at here are the menus. Of course, we need a menu for our store. I'm going to be talking very soon as well about the navigation system and how to actually build out a menu that works both for your user and also for SEO. Now, below all of this, we have what we call plugins, and I'm going to click on plugins as well. Now, what you see there is a load of stuff that probably doesn't make any sense, but what I want you to think about is a plugin is something that can basically enhance the functionality of your store. So if you've done any of my other courses, I always use this analogy, which is coming up, okay? So when you get your phone, your smartphone, you can basically make calls and you can send text. Let's say those are the two most basic things that you want to do. But if you want to go on Facebook or on WhatsApp or talk to your friends on Snapchat or whatever it might be, you download an app onto your phone to enable that. That app increases the functionality of your phone. And an app is exactly the same thing in the world of WordPress as a plugin. So there are hundreds and thousands of different plugins that we can bring to our store to increase its functionality. Some of them are free and some of them are paying, and I'm going to go into a few of these a bit later on, but you'll see it's an incredibly powerful system to build out a really fantastic looking store. Now the rest of the stuff down here is to do with users. You just have your one user that we set up before, so we're not going to get into all that kinds of stuff. We got tools and we've got settings. Again, really of limited use. We will maybe touch on these bits and pieces. But I hope you can see, I would encourage you now just to click around. You can't do any damage. Just enjoy clicking around and familiarizing yourself with WordPress. The more you do that, the more you're going to feel comfortable with what it is that you're actually doing. Now, just before we leave this particular lecture, I do want to show you that you actually have a site set up for free. Now, you're not going to be impressed with this, but I do want to just show you. So if you go up to here where you have the little house, and I'm going to open it up in a different tab, but we have Visit Site. See this? And clicking on Visit Site takes us to our site. Now, as you can see, this is definitely not a site that we can build a business on, but we are going to customize this. We're going to make it look pretty cool. Now, I also want to emphasize that this course is about building out a business. It's not a design an amazing website course, all right? So I'm going to give you all of the tools that you need and all of the knowledge that you need to build out a great site. It's going to be up to you and your imagination, your determination, if you like, to see how far you want to take it. But you'll have all the knowledge by the end of this course. So you can see this site here. We've got this weird pot plant thing here. We've got the time flies of fitness, the things I was typing in when we were initially setting up WordPress a few minutes ago. And then down here there's all kinds of stuff which is actually related to a blog, if we were going to set up a blog, of very limited use, all right? But nevertheless, we do have a site. Now, one thing I want to emphasize is that you may not see your site straight away. Yeah? Mine's on timefliesfitness2.com, which was the domain name that I set up and explained to you before. But you may see something that says it's still waiting. All right? Sometimes it can take up to 24 hours before your website appears. It's called DNS propagation, all right? But basically, it takes some time to go through all those servers across the world so that you can actually see your site. Now, typically in 95% of cases, you're going to see your site within a few minutes, if not almost immediately. But if after 24 hours you're still not seeing your site, go back to the TMD support and they will help you out. Their support is absolutely excellent. It's the reason why I recommend them. Go back to their support and they will sort your site out in no time at all. So fantastic. As I said, enjoy checking out WordPress, and in the next lecture we're going to look at adding a theme, a nice storefront to your store so that it no longer looks like what you're looking at on the screen right now. Fantastic. I shall see you in a moment.